Happy Friday, Fan Clan! What is going on? My name is Fanny Dantump, also known as Danny Phantom. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're having a really good week so far. I've got a hopefully not too long of a video, but I want to get into things very quickly. So first of all, I need to announce our giveaway winner because we went on a shopping spree on the Pokemon Center website. Huge shout out again to the Pokemon Center, or to Pokemon, Pokemon Company International for sponsoring one of our videos. We were able to give away a ton of really cool stuff, including a Mew skateboard, a Blastoise bookend, a lot of really cool stuff. A cool Charmander, Charizard, Charmeleon, Fossil Watch, a Psyduck Floaty, which everybody obviously wants. And I'm going to announce that giveaway winner right now. So congratulations to Halo Crazy 05. Halo Crazy 05. Congratulations. You are the winner of all of that wonderful PokemonCenter.com merchandise. All I need you to do is just hit me up with all of your information, your mailing information. You can find me on Instagram at Danny.Phantom. You can find me on Twitter at Danny__O, or you can find me on email. You can find me on email. You can just email me, DannyPhantomContent@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for everything. We are really close to Paradox Rift. We should get Paradox Rift hopefully sometime at the end of next week, which means we will crack a bunch of stuff open, determine pull rates, build a master set, and give that master set away to one of you as well. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure to come back every video. Why wouldn't you want to watch every video and listen to me ramble? But come back and we will announce the giveaway for that in the master set video. So that'll be, we're only like probably 10 days away from that. So we're going to jump into things today. This is a pile of graded cards right here. So I don't do much with grading cards. So we've got Charizard, we've got another Charizard, we've got this cool Magmar right here. So this is stuff that we would probably have in our case at a regional event or something like that. So we've got just a bunch of random graded cards. I don't do much with grading. I don't know the market. And if you watch yesterday's video, you know the Mind of Fanny goes a lot on like raw, modern, English cards, stuff that impacts competitive play. It's just constantly analyzing the market as a business owner. So I don't talk about my online card store that often, although this week I have for some reason. So this is like the third time or second time that I've mentioned this week. I spend a lot of time focusing on burn and turn, like get stuff in, get stuff out. There's a lot of people who consider themselves like long-term investors or things like I don't talk about that stuff because I'm not holding stuff for the long haul. I'm not locking stuff in a closet or anything like that to save for 10, 15, 20 years. I have a business to run. I have margins to hit. I have bills to pay. Like I am looking at buying stuff from distributors. It's very tough right now because distributor pricing is basically matching market pricing, right? So buying Temporal Forces booster boxes at wholesale pricing and then trying to sell those at the small profit margin that they might be and burn and turn that inventory and then invest that money into another product that might be coming out or some singles that might be coming out. So I'm constantly focusing on modern cards and how they are performing right now and maybe trying to add up, little pennies here and there because little amounts make a big amount if you do it in large quantities, if you do it fast enough. So graded cards, not very good at. I don't grade a whole lot of cards. I have graded some cards in the past, but those are the ones that more tell a story, that are important to me, that I might want to keep in my long-term collection, that I might want to vault away and things like that. When I have cards like this, these are usually cards that I buy at like regional events or shows. I might buy them and put them in the booth just so we have a little bit of additional inventory that might cater to more of the collector. But I thought I've been getting asked a lot about graded cards, and I thought, okay, well, what kind of data can I look at to see if you can make money grading cards, if you can make money grading Pokemon cards? And there are so many cards that get graded right now, and there's so much out there as far as what grading company to go with. My best recommendation is going to be to go with who you trust, who you are comfortable with. I've had great things happen with a lot of grading companies. I've had bad things happen with a lot of grading companies. There's not necessarily one grading company that I'm going to go out there and I'm going to recommend because I think it's all based off of your experience with them. Obviously, I do think PSA is the staple in the community as far as price points go. I think a lot of people focus on PSA pricing, especially when it comes to PSA 10s. That's the ones that have the highest pop reports. Those are the ones that go with Pokemon card collectors go with on the majority of time. So when you're talking about grading Pokemon cards, PSA might be the best bet for you to go to because that might have the best resale value. But I figured, okay, well, why don't I look at all of the sets that have been released? This was another rabbit hole. I tell you, the data this week has just been overwhelming. I wanted to look at the amount of population that exists from every trainer gallery set on. So starting out with Brilliant Stars, which was the first trainer gallery set, looking at the amount of graded cards that are in excess of 4,000. So over 4,000 graded cards. How many graded cards do you think there are? That over 4,000 population up to current set. So up to Paldea and Fates. Now Paldea and Fates didn't have anything because it's still so new, but going all the way up to Scarlet and Violet 151, basically, I wanted to figure out, okay, well, how many grades are there out there? How many PSA 10s are out there? What percentage of graded cards are in PSA 10? And what does it look like when you're buying near mint cards on TCG Player, on Facebook, on eBay, scouring over the pictures to determine, okay, well, is this going to get a PSA 10? It's very difficult to see through digital exposure. So if you're looking at a picture on Facebook or Instagram or Discord or wherever, trying to determine, it's not easy. It's something that it's going to take you a lot of practice to do. But is there money that can be made to turn around and then flip those cards? So here's the data that I have, and this is the first one here, so I'm going to lay this out so you can kind of see what we're looking at here. But we're going to start with the Umbreon VMAX. So there's like 30 cards that have a PSA population of over 4,000 since the release of Brilliant Stars. And the first one is this Umbreon VMAX right here with 4,390 that have been graded. There are 3,412 of these in a PSA 10, 730 of these in a PSA 9. So that means the percentage of population in a PSA 10 is 78%. So there's some that are graded lower, but 3,412 out of 4,390, 78%. So that means a very strong grade, a very, very strong grade people submit, and you're going to expect a PSA 10 78% of the time. Now, when you go on eBay and you look at completed listings, because that's really the best place, you can go to pokedata.io also, and you can kind of figure out data there because they do a lot of comparisons with graded cards. But if you're looking at the PSA 10 price, $55 is what it's looking at for selling. So on eBay, the most recent solds are right around $55. The raw price to buy this card in near mint condition. So on market pricing on TCG Play, if you're going out and you're like, hey, I'm going to a card show, I want to buy an Umbreon VMAX, I want to find a near mint copy of it, and I want to get it graded so I can flip it or whatever the case may be, $23. So that means your difference is $32. Now, there's a big factor. Now, before we get into things, I do want to preface this because I know people are going to say that grading right away is going to be huge. Grading right away, a new set coming out, Paldea and Fates, for example, the Charizard special illustration rare, the Gardevoir special illustration rare. If you turn that over to PSA right away and you're first on scene with getting that back, that's going to give you a premium price point. That's going to give you a much better price point. So this is more focused on just if right now you're looking at grading cards that have already been out, already high pop cards, is there still money that can be made? So your difference is $32. So you would have pocketed $32. However, if you're selling it on eBay, you're looking at what, 10-15% fees, somewhere around there, shipping, things like that. This one's probably not going to work out very well for you. So a high pop card probably doesn't work out too well with the Umbreon VMAX because of the high population out there. The Charizard V-Star, however, works a little bit better. You're going to be paying about $25, $30 in fees plus another $5, $10 to ship, somewhere around there. So let's say you've got $40 into it plus another $15 for the grading fee, $20 for the whatever. So $60 into it, you should profit about $27 on this one, despite the fact that it's got a huge population report. So 12,716 that have been graded of the Rainbow Rare Charizard V-Star. That's a lot. 12,716 that have been graded. Not as many as the Pikachu. And that's another thing. We're not looking at promo cards. We're just looking at set releases here. PSA 10s, there's 7,375 PSA 10s for Charizard V-Star, 4,179 PSA 9s. The percentage of pop, a little bit lower, 58%. So Brilliant Stars, not the best card quality when it came to the main series set. Trainer Gallery looked a little bit better, and maybe people are just like a little bit more choosy when it comes to the Umbreon VMAX and the Charizard V-Star. But a lower percentage, only 58%, got a PSA 10 out of the amount that were submitted to PSA. Your PSA 10 price right now, selling for about $145. You can go out and buy this card for $58, maybe even a little bit cheaper. So this is makes a little bit more sense because your difference is $87. So once you factor in the grading, once you factor in the fees, once you factor in the shipping costs, things like that, it'll probably net you like $20, $30 somewhere around that category. Obviously, if you're a vendor and maybe you sell at flea markets or you sell at card shows or things like that, it would work a little bit better. The Arceus V alternate art from Brilliant Stars, 4,863 of these have been graded. 2,943 hit a PSA 10. So that's about 61%, a little bit higher than what we saw from the Charizard. Your PSA 10 for this one, only $65. Your raw price on this one, $24. So once you factor in the cost and fees and things like that, your difference is $41. That's going to come down substantially. You probably, if we assume $15, $20 for the grade, you assume 10, let's say 10, 15% for the fees, and another $5 to ship, you're probably going to lose a little bit of money on a high pop card like this Arceus V. So demand is really what's going to play a huge factor. Obviously with the Charizard V alternate art, it's going to work a little bit better, even though extremely high pop report. So obviously the Pokemon card that you are grading plays a huge it matters, right? It plays a huge impact on your decision-making process if you're looking at getting into flipping graded cards or buying cards, grading them, and then reselling them. It's going to play a huge impact. You really want to make sure you're sticking to cards that are super popular, Pokemon that are super popular, like this alternate art Charizard V right here with 14,201 that have been graded. 8,070 of them have hit a PSA 10. That's actually surprising because I feel like every Charizard V alternate art that I pulled had terrible centering, had whitening issues, card quality was not there. 57% of the cards that were graded, of the Charizard Vs that were graded, hit a PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price on this one selling for $235. Your raw price on this one right around $117. It was trending in the downward direction. It's kind of flat now over the past month for a raw copy. Your difference is about $118. So buying a card like this raw in near mint condition, if you're inspecting the centering and you're looking at all the corners and everything like that, and you're confident, you should be able to make a little bit of money on an alternate art Charizard V as opposed to like the Arceus V that we just looked at. Here's the full art Charizard V, also from Brilliant Stars, 4,433 that have been graded, 2,529 of them in PSA 10. The price that you pay for grading is substantial. The bulk pricing, things like that is playing a huge impact on your margins when we're looking at this, because when these PSA 10 prices come down significantly, so 57%, first of all, 57% of these cards hit PSA 10, $61 is the PSA 10 price for this one. Your raw price for this one is $17. When that PSA 10 price shrinks, the percentage that you're paying into that just for the grading fee is huge as far as your margin goes. So if you're paying $15 to get this card graded, obviously that's going to make up 25% of the cost or of the value of the card in PSA 10. So even though you're paying $17 for it, adding $15 on it, that's over half of your margin right there. That's not even factoring in fees. That's not even factoring in shipping. So that $44 difference, when you're factoring in the cost that it was to get graded, you're subtracting your shipping, you're subtracting your fees, that plays a huge impact right there, and that's not even factoring in taxes and stuff like that. Charizard V-Star, another card that got graded like crazy. Brilliant Star is a very interesting set because it was the first introduction of the trainer gallery. It was the first, obviously, Charizard came out like crazy, and I think a lot of people just graded anything Charizard. 4,783 graded cards on this one. 56% of the cards that were submitted hit PSA 10. That's 2,695. Your PSA 10 price is only $34. Your raw price on this one is $6. So the difference is that bulk pricing for PSA grading, that bulk pricing for your grade is going to stay the same. So even though your fees will go down because you're only paying 10, 12%, it's a percentage of your sale price, your grading price is still significant, and it can take a while, right? Bulk grading can take, I don't even remember what the turn time is right now, but it can take multiple weeks, and then you're hoping the market doesn't fluctuate, and with how cyclical Pokemon is going up and down, you might have to wait a little bit to try and get recuperate your spend, your money that you invested into this. The difference on this one, $28 between the raw price and the PSA 10 price. Here's the Starmie V from Astral Radiance. There's 5,108 of these that were graded. 2,940 of them hit PSA 10. That's 58% of the submissions hit PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price for this one, not too bad, $100. And your raw price for this one in near mint condition is $40. Your difference on that, $60. So you'd be looking at netting about $60, and then you subtract your grading fee and everything else. Probably profit a little bit on that one. The Pikachu VMAX probably wouldn't be as successful. 5,142. It's interesting. The only one from Astral Radiance that hit over 4,000 graded copies was the Starmie V. Machamp V didn't hit it. Garchomp from the Trainer Gallery didn't hit it. None of the alternate arts hit it at all. The only one from Astral Radiance with over 4,000 pop report was that Starmie V. If we look at the Pikachu VMAX, there's a few from Lost Origin, including this Pikachu VMAX. 5,142 of them that have been grading. 69% of them hit PSA 10. That's a very high percentage. 3,548 PSA 10s out there. Your PSA 10 price, $80. So as we climb up the PSA 10 ladder, as we climb up this percentage of Pop 10 ladder, the PSA 10 price goes down. If you compare it to the Starmie V, for example, only 58%. Your PSA 10 price, a little bit higher. Here we are, 69%, which is a higher PSA 10 pop. Your PSA 10 price goes down a little bit. Your raw price for this one, $40, same as what we just saw. The difference, only about $40 with this one, so you're probably not profiting much on this Pikachu VMAX. Same thing with the Pikachu V, the raw price being a little bit cheaper, but only 55% being graded in Pop 10, so only 55% of the total graded. This one just barely met the criteria. 4,007 that have been graded, with 2,212 of them hitting PSA 10. That's 55%, $67 for the PSA 10 price, $19 for the raw price. That's a difference of $48, not counting in the fees and the grading fees and stuff like that. Lost Origin Charizard from the Trainer Gallery, another Charizard that hit the criteria for this sample size, 5,755 that have been graded, 2,105 in PSA 10. But look at the percentage of Pop 10 number. That is crazy. 37% hit PSA 10. So a very difficult card to grade in PSA. Way more PSA 9s in existence than PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price, $45. So this one's not too bad because the raw price of it is only $4. So if you're going to a show and you find a perfectly centered PSA 10 worthy Charizard from the Trainer Gallery, that might be one that you want to pick up and grade, because the margin on it is much, much better, of $41 there, because your fees are going to be much less. Giratina V, 7,448 that have been graded. 48% of these have been graded in Pop 10. So again, less than half have been graded in PSA 10. So a little bit less PSA 10 worthy candidates than what we saw from some of these other ones. 7,448 graded, 3,558 have hit PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price for this one, $570. That's very high. If you look at the difference here, your raw price on this one, $261. Your difference on this one, $309. So once you factor in that grading cost and things like that, this one is definitely a no-brainer. This one would work out very well. The problem is over half of them do not hit that PSA 10 mark. Here's the Rayquaza VMAX from Silver Tempest. 4,260 of these have been graded, with 77% of them hitting PSA 10. That's 3,287 PSA 10s in existence. $67 is the PSA 10 price currently. Your raw price for this one is $29, so your difference is about $38. Probably not worth it on this Rayquaza VMAX. Probably worth it with the Lugia V still, with 60% of them hitting PSA 10, because the difference is somewhat substantial. 11,777 of these have been graded, with 7,117 of them hitting PSA 10. It's a very high percentage. So this, obviously, a lot of these being PSA 10 worthy. Your PSA 10 price is $285, but your raw price is down to $122. So your difference on this one, $163. So even though your percentage of fees is going to be a little bit higher, still works out really well. I believe all the gold cards from Crown Zenith hit the criteria for this. 7,156 for the Arceus V-Star have been graded. 60% of them hit PSA 10, with 4,290 of these Pokemon cards hitting that mark. PSA 10 price is $110. Your raw price is $52. Only about a 58% or a $58 difference there. So a little bit less than what we've seen. Same thing with the Giratina V-Star. Your PSA 10 price for this one, $125, but the raw price is mighty close to that at $76. So your difference is only $49 in that one. Once you play the fees and the grading costs and stuff like that, probably not worth it. Percentage of Pop 10s, 57%. There's 5,063 PSA 10s in existence out of 8,884 graded copies. The Dialga V-Star, 5,495 that have been graded. Very similar to what we just saw with the Giratina V-Star. 59% of them have hit Pop 10 or have hit PSA 10. 3,226 of these Pokemon cards in PSA 10. PSA 10 price, $90. Your raw price on this one, $36. So your difference, only $54 on that one. Same thing with the Palkia V-Star. Actually, a little bit less with the Palkia V-Star. This one's probably not worth it at all. 5,458 of them have been graded. Only 54% hit PSA 10 quality for this one. So a little bit less. 2,959 in existence, but your PSA 10 price only $80, with your raw price being $38. Your difference there there is $42. Mewtwo V-Star, also from Crown Zenith, 9,376 that have been graded, 68%, a very high percentage, hitting Pop 10, 6,355 in existence. Your PSA 10 price for this one, only $85. Your raw price on this one, $42. So your difference there is $43. Probably not worth it on that one. Same thing with the Raikou V. Lots of Crown Zenith cards have been graded. 4,320 total graded. 63% of them hit Pop 10. That's 2,711 for the quantity of Pokemon cards when it comes to Raikou V. PSA 10 price, $50 on this one. Your raw price, $17. So only a $33 difference on that one. A little bit better on the Suicune. 4,902 have been graded with 63% of them hitting Pop 10. That means there's 3,100 PSA 10s in existence, but your PSA 10 price on this one, $71. Your raw price on this one, only $15. So the difference there, $56. Your fees are probably going to be like $3-4 for this one, plus $15 grading, plus $5-10 for shipping. So this one might be worth it a little bit more so than what we just saw with the Raikou V. The Entei V, huge percentage hitting Pop 10, 70% hitting Pop 10. 4,394 of these Pokemon cards have been graded with 3,078 hitting PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price on this one is $65 with your raw price being $16. Your difference on this one, still $49, which isn't bad. Your Leafeon V-Star, not nearly as good with your PSA 10 price only being $48 and the raw price being $19. Your difference is only $29 in profit that you've got to spend on grading and fees and things like that. Percentage of Pop 10, 68%, which is also very high. 4,061 that have been graded with 2,769 of them hitting Pop 10. Then we've got the Secret Rare Pikachu. Look at this number. 15,825 have been graded. That's insane. With 9,409 of them hitting PSA 10. That's almost 60%. 59% hitting PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price on this, only $35. So this one probably not worth it, despite the fact that the raw price on this one is only $7. Here's the Radiant Charizard from Crown Zenith. 11,982. That's crazy. 11,982 have been graded of this Radiant Charizard. 57% of them hitting PSA 10. That's 6,847. So 6,847 of this Pokemon card. Radiant Charizard hit PSA 10. PSA 10 price $35. Your raw price is $5. That's a difference of $30. Then we've got the Blastoise EX from Scarlet and Violet 151. 4,549 that have been graded. 38% of them hitting PSA 10. The Scarlet and Violet 151 PSA 10s are very, very small compared to the other sets. So 1,721 of them hitting PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price for this one, $140. Your raw price for this one, $45. That's a difference of $95. The Charizard EX, even better. 36% of them hitting PSA 10. So this one much more difficult to grade. Out of 8,111 copies of this Pokemon card, only 2,925 have hit PSA 10. Your PSA 10 price on this one is $320, which isn't bad. Your raw price on this one, you can go out and you can buy it for $115. That's a difference of $205. Then we've got a few from the Scarlet and Violet era, including this Miriam right here. Probably not worth it on this one because the fees are going to be a little bit more expensive with a higher percentage. 7,431 that have been graded, 40% of them hitting Pop 10 or PSA 10, which is actually pretty low. 3,004 PSA 10 Pokemon cards in existence for this Miriam. PSA 10 price is $75. Your raw nearmint price right now is $28. It's a difference of $47. Here's your Gold Charizard from Obsidian Flames. 6,361 have been graded by PSA with only 33% of them hitting Pop 10 or PSA 10. That's 2,076. That's really, really low. $120 for your PSA 10 price. You can buy this card raw for $23. That's a difference of 97. So that's a really strong grade. Same thing with the Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare. 8,694 that have been graded with only 2,406 hitting PSA 10. That means only 28% of the cards submitted, of this Pokemon card submitted, hit that PSA 10 quality. $220 for the PSA 10 price. Your raw price is only $48. So if you find a perfect copy of Charizard EX, definitely one that you want to submit. Your difference there is $172. Huge. Then we've got the funny looking hat Charizard, also from Obsidian Flames. 4,675, a little bit higher percentage of PSA 10 at 44%, but still relatively low. 2,043 of the copies have been graded PSA 10. $55 is your PSA 10 price. Only $12 for the raw price, a difference of $43. That one probably not as worth it. Then we've got the Iono from Paldea Evolve. 4,304 copies have been graded, only 47% of them hitting PSA 10. It seems like a lot of Scarlet and Violet. I don't know if PSA got more strict with their grading process or whatever the case may be, but Scarlet and Violet, a much lower percentage than what we saw from Sword and Shield. 2,024 of these hit PSA 10, only 47%. $160 for the PSA 10 price, $80 for the raw price. It's about an $80 difference on the Iono, and that is the last card that we have that has over 4,000 graded. So at the end of the day, if you're willing to do all this work and find the cards that, even though they have high pop reports, if you're looking at the pop reports, if you're studying the market, this is definitely something that you could do theoretically, as long as you have a good outlet for it. So once you grade cards, you pay that fee and things like that and subtract your margins. It's definitely something you want to really know what you're doing, but it does seem like you could make some money. You could make, as a business, you could make a little bit of extra money focusing on graded cards. The problem is all that work that I put into this presentation, for example, it took me several hours to do. So doing that on a daily basis alongside trying to understand all the modern market and everything like that, it's just, it can be very overwhelming. So you have to have a lot of love and passion for it. But I want to throw these numbers out there just so you have them, so you can kind of make the best decision for yourself. Very interesting to look at graded cards. I can't play with graded cards, so I think that's part of the reason that I never really got into graded cards, because I love playing the game and you can't shuffle a 60 card deck of graded cards. So I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm, but most importantly, I just really love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you just taking the time to listen to me ramble. I'll be back tomorrow with a short. Until next time, peace.